The title of today's show is 10 Stupid Things Real Estate Agents Do to Screw Up Their Careers, or Mess Up Their Careers. I didn't say screw up there, I said mess up their careers. So the original inspiration for this show was really kind of fun. I was doing a program back in, I think, August of 2017 that I called The Secrets of My Success. And in that show, I outlined 7 very specific things that I did in my real estate career that I feel contributed heavily to the success that I enjoyed. And during the show, when I was literally doing the show, I had this sort of distracting thought about all of the things that I didn't do in my career that I see other agents doing that I feel like detracts from their chances for success. And so I was doing the show and I was having all these thoughts about, things that, oh, by the way, I didn't do this and I didn't do this and I didn't do that. And so when I got off that show, The Secrets of My Success, I wrote down a bunch of this stuff, a bunch of these things that I did not do, or if I did them, I learned later that I shouldn't have done them. So that was where I came up with the idea for, 10 stupid things real estate agents do to mess up their careers. So what do I mean by stupid? I mean, that's a pretty strong word. So what am I talking about? Well, basically, I feel like that I have a pretty big issue with the traditional training in real estate, and that I don't think I've been shy about saying that I think an awful lot of it is stupid. And sometimes I look at this stuff and I hear about it and I honest to gosh think, are the people who create this sitting in their boardrooms laughing hysterically at the gullibility of real estate agents who are eating this stuff up, who buy it and then actually implement it? Now, that's just my opinionated opinion that this stuff is ridiculous, but I mean, some of it is silly, and we're going to talk about some of those silly things today. And so some of the things I say today that I call stupid, you're welcome to say, wait a minute, I do that and it works for me. That's fine. All right. I mean, it's fine. What I'm telling you today are things that, in my opinion and in my experience, are things you shouldn't do in a real estate career, but those are only my opinions and only my experience. And I'm guessing because you're here on the show that you value my opinion and think that maybe my experience is worth listening to. So I never did really define what I meant by stupid. So here is my definition of stupid as far as things to do in your real estate career. I think anything that you do that wastes your time, wastes your money, and drains your energy in the pursuit of business or the management of business, those are the things that I'm defining as stupid. Activities that waste your time, waste your money, and drain your energy. Okay? So I'm guessing nobody's really gonna, I would think you wouldn't argue with me to say, well, yeah, if something's wasting my time, my money, or my energy, then that's kind of a stupid thing to do. But again, back to what I just said, if some of these topics that I talk about don't waste your time, don't waste your energy, don't drain your energy, and don't waste your money because they're working for you, that's fine. 10 stupid things real estate agents do to mess up their careers. And the first thing, I really couldn't start anywhere else because of all the things, I don't know, I can't say that I feel the strongest about it, but I feel pretty darn strong about it. And that is, you know what I'm gonna say? Don't beg for referrals. Don't build a business model around asking, begging, bribing, obligating for business or referrals. I know there are other programs out there that, basically that's the whole thing, is memorizing scripts and, actually calling up people that and asking them if they know anybody, who needs to buy or sell real estate today or tomorrow. And I got to tell you, it's the pressure I'm hearing is pretty intense in some of these offices where this is the culture, that this is how you get business, is you go out there in the world and you ask for it and you beg for it. I know the pressure is intense to do it, But if your gut's telling you this is not right, this is annoying, this is damaging my credibility, if that's what your gut tells you when you hear this stuff, trust that. Okay. Asking for business as a real estate agent is going to be counterproductive to your goal of getting business as a real estate agent. And yeah, I know. I've heard all the buts. I've heard the, well, if you don't ask, you don't get. And the thing is, yeah, that's true in some, in some cases in your life, you've got to ask for something to get it, but not real estate business. Okay. Now, the first question, well, if I can't ask for referrals, if I can't tell people how much I enjoy referrals, how much, what a big compliment it is, blah, 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 how do I get referrals? How do I let people know that I work by referral? Asking for referrals, asking for business, it does several things that are going to damage your relationship with the person that you're asking. And it's also going to damage your credibility. So what does it do? Well, first of all, I mean, it's annoying. It's uncomfortable, especially the way that I've heard these other people tell you to do it is to go out there and ask your friends. I mean, specifically, do you know anybody who needs to buy or sell real estate? You can't think of anybody yet? Well, I'll just sit here and wait until you do. I'll tell you what, somebody approaches me with that, I'm not going to be taking their calls again. If I see them coming, I'm going to go the other way. It's annoying. It puts people on the spot, and there's nothing in it for your victim here. There's nothing positive in it. You're just out there telling them, hey, do you know anybody who wants to buy or sell real estate? So that's thing one. It's annoying. It puts people on the spot. It makes them uncomfortable. It also sends a pretty clear message that you're not as busy as you'd like to be. Now, is that the case? Sure, it probably is the case. But when people make hiring and referring decisions about a real estate agent or other self-employed people, they want to hire or refer somebody who's successful. And if your message out there all the time is, do you know anybody who wants to buy or sell? Who can you refer to me? The greatest compliment you can, blah, 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 then that's going to send a fairly clear message that you're not all that successful. And I'll tell you here in a minute, there are things that you can do to let people know that you work by referral or that you enjoy referrals without putting them on the spot, without damaging your credibility. Now, another but I get about not begging for referrals is, people will say, well, I've always asked for referrals and I've always gotten them, so it does work for me. Or, well, my buddy, my colleague asks for referrals all the time and they get referrals all the time, so it's obviously working. Well, I'm going to challenge you on that. If you are getting referrals, if you're getting business from people that you're asking for it, you would have gotten it anyway. You're not getting that business because you asked for it in almost all likelihood. Okay. You're doing something right, or this colleague of yours is doing something right that is inspiring people to send business their way. But I can pretty much guarantee you it's not because they're asking for it. They're doing something else. Okay. And the referral begging, the business begging might even be getting in the way, because they may be alienating some people who might be happy to refer to them, but then they're irritated by all the referral begging, so they don't. So anyway, if you're getting referrals and you are asking for them, you will get those referrals anyway, as long as you stay in touch with people. Okay, so what do I do instead? What do I do instead? Do whatever you do and leave the referral begging out of it. Okay, surely that's not the basis of your business model, is to just tell every single person you know and every person you meet every time you talk to them that, do you have anybody to refer to me? Surely there's other things you're doing that are bringing business to your door. Keep doing those and leave the referral begging out of it. So what about the I heart referrals on your business card? What about the greatest compliment I can receive is the referral of, your friends and neighbors or whatever? Do you really think anybody sees that I heart referral on your business card and says, oh, Jennifer loves referrals, I'm going to send her some? It's meaningless. I mean, everybody puts I heart referrals, the greatest compliment I can receive, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't, that is not going to generate business for you. If you want to put it on your card, if you want to put it on, your marketing, okay. That's fine. But I think that real estate on your card, that real estate on your marketing could be used a lot more efficiently on something that actually matters, on something that somebody would actually go, oh, Jennifer specializes in charming old Denver and, you know, the old neighborhoods in Denver. Oh, wow, I know people who, you know, who were looking for a home. I mean, something a little more meaningful. So anyway, the punchline, and I promised I would talk about what to do instead, and I just realized, wait, this isn't a show on referral begging. I've got 9 more things to talk about, so I'm not going to do that. But the punchline is, get out of the mindset that you have to ask for business and referrals in order to get it. You don't. And there's just too much downside to doing it and not a whole lot of upside. Okay? So that's stupid thing number 1, making a business model out of begging for referrals. Stupid thing number 2, I'm sure you're seeing this coming, and that is to prioritize prospecting over client service. This is preached as gospel in the real estate industry, and it is absolutely stupid. Absolutely stupid. And I don't think there's an argument out there that you're going to give me that's going to talk me out of, you know, putting off your clients in order to prospect is a smart thing to do. It's not. It's even if that's what it takes to be successful, and it's not, but even if prioritizing prospecting over client service is the only way you're going to be successful, again, it's not, that's wrong. I mean, that is, it's a lack of integrity. It's a lack of professionalism to take people, you know, to let people hire you, to take their money, to take their trust, and then basically trash it and call them your lower priority than prospecting for new business. That's just wrong. And I don't know how anybody could run a business that way and feel good about it. Now, that isn't to say that, you know, there isn't, you know, a team, and, you know, one of the members of the team is the rainmaker, is the salesperson, is the bring in business in kind of guy or gal. And then somebody back at the office competently, professionally manages it. That's not what I'm talking about. But when you're out there in the world talking to your potential clients, to your prospects, promising them the world in service and telling them how much money you're going to charge them because your service is so amazing, and then come back and this garbage that prospecting is job 1, that's your primary duty. Sorry, doesn't work that way. Now, I mean, it does work that way. A lot of agents run their businesses that way, and more power to them, I guess. But it doesn't have to be that way. And I can promise you on a stack of soulless souls that if your priority is your current clients, and that's what you get up in the morning excited to take care of is your current clients, and you make sure that they're taken care of before you even think about prospecting, there will come a time in your career that you won't have to prospect. You won't have to do any prospecting at all, and business will continue to come in. So it is a fantastic business model to focus on your current clients and do your prospecting once your current clients are taken care of. Now, sure, if you don't have any current clients or you only have 1 or 2, then still focus on them as your priority, and then you can get to your prospecting. If you have so many clients that you don't have time to prospect, guess what? You're fine. Take care of those clients as your first priority and do your prospecting when you have time. And if you don't, that's fine. Taking care of your current clients is the best prospecting you can possibly do. It really is. So, okay. That's stupid thing number 2, is to prioritize prospecting over client service. All right. Stupid thing, let me see. No, I don't have any new questions. Okay. Stupid thing number 3 is, and I'm sorry about this, this is gonna bug some people, but, and the stupid thing number 3 is to do real estate on the side, to do real estate as a side gig, a nights and weekends job, keeping your full-time job during the day and doing real estate, you know, just trying to ease into real estate. Has anybody ever succeeded doing that? Probably. I don't know anybody who has. And it's just common sense that in an industry where the vast majority of new practitioners fail, that if you're not giving it your all, you're even more likely to fail. I mean, nobody really knows what the real numbers are as far as people who fail in real estate in their first year or two, but you know, you hear 70%, 75% during the recession. I heard 95%. And so, you know, in an industry that has a failure rate that high, really, do you think coming in and, you know, doing it just nights and weekends or 10 hours a week or, you know, on the side, do you really think that's going to work? Real estate, when done right, is a full-time job, and it's not nights and weekends. And that's one of the things I think our industry has done a disservice to itself is, you know, sort of implying that this is a job that can be done nights and weekends. It can't. The vast majority of what a real estate agent does is done during the week, during the day. In fact, you could be a successful real estate agent and never work nights and weekends. Now, you'll be more successful if you work nights and weekends, but you literally, if you wanted a 9-to-5 job, an 8-to-5 job, and not nights and not weekends, real estate, you can do that in real estate. Now, you'll have issues. But anyway, my point is that you're a lot more likely to succeed in real estate doing it 9 to 5 than you are nights and weekends. Again, the vast majority of the people that are going to help you solve your problems, the people that you need to communicate with, those are 9 to 5ers, 8 to 5ers during the week. Now, sure, you know, are you going to work with buyers on Saturdays? Are you going to hold open houses on Sundays? Sure. But again, vast majority of the work is done during the week. Now, can somebody who has a successful real estate career now cut back and do something else as their priority? Sure. Yeah, that can happen. Once you know what you're doing, once you have your systems in place, once you have a book of business, and you're not, every single transaction is not this monster learning experience, then yeah, it can be done. Although I will tell you, I did it for a period of time, and I was in a perfect position to pull it off, and I struggled trying to do it part-time as my non-priority career. Can it be done? I suppose it can, but I will tell you, if you're thinking about, I don't know if I have people on this call thinking about going into real estate, but if you're thinking about doing it part-time because you can't afford to lose your benefits, you can't afford to lose, you know, come up with a different plan, because that one's not going to work. Okay, there are ways to get into real estate and do it successfully, but doing it nights and weekends, doing it as a part-time gig, that's not it. Okay. All right. Number 4 stupid things real estate agents do to mess up their careers is to take a quantity over quality approach to your business. And what I mean by that is getting in the mindset that more is always better, and that efficiency is better than effectiveness. Efficiency and effectiveness are not the same thing. So let me give you an example. Would you think it's a better thing to go on 100 listing appointments in a month or 10? Okay, 100 listing appointments in a month or 10. Which do you think is a better use, or a more successful real estate? I mean, which is a more successful strategy? Okay, 100 in a month or 10. Okay, you go, well, 100, you know, that would be great. Okay, let's think about that though. 100 listing appointments in a month. And this is a program. I've seen a program out there that promises you 100 listing appointments in a month if you follow their program. I'm going, 100 listings, why would anybody want? Okay. So that's what, 3.3 listing appointments a day. I don't know about you, but when I do a listing appointment, I actually spend a little time getting ready for it. I actually, you know, when I go talk to the sellers, I know about their neighborhood. I've done a thorough CMA. I'm pretty excited about, you know, coming up with the right price and actually doing a great job. But if I'm doing 3.3 listing appointments every day, I'm not doing any of that. And then, okay, so I do my 3.3 listing appointments, and then I come back to the office. What if I get these listings? What am I going to do then? You know, who's going to take it? You know, so, but what if you just did 10? Okay. If you just do 10, how many of those listings are you going to get? Probably. Well, because you're prepared, because you're not treating people like you burn and churn them, you're probably going to get close to all 10 of them. If you're doing 100, I'm guessing you'll get 10. I mean, maybe 15, I don't know. But you won't get all 100, I can guarantee you that, because I mean, people are not going to appreciate your style. And I'm guessing you're not providing great service, but we already talked about that. So if I do 10 listing appointments a month and I get 8 or 9 or 10 of those, and I only did 10 appointments, doesn't that sound more effective than doing 100? And I mean, 100 listing appointments, that would be exhausting. I would actually hate doing that. Okay, so that's one example of quality over quantity. Another one, let's use the 100 and the 10, is what if you're in a program that says you need to talk to 100 people a week. You need to go out in the world and find 100 people a week to talk to about real estate. Again, that sounds exhausting to me, to go out and talk to 100 people a week about real estate. And I'm guessing, assuming you have other things to do besides being out there in the world talking about real estate, that these conversations are pretty superficial. They're not super, I mean, you're going to lose your mind after a while. They're not going to be good conversations. What if you say, you know what, instead, I'm going to talk to 10 people this week about real estate? Don't you think those 10 conversations are going to go better? Okay. They're going to be more meaningful. They're going to be more interesting. They're going to be more inspiring. They're going to be more memorable. So I think if you were to talk to 10 people a week about real estate, and only 10, not 100, 10, then I think your business would explode. Now, I'm not telling you to go do that, because that really isn't part of my business model, is to talk to 10 people a week about real estate. But if you did that versus 100, I think you'd see, some pretty good success. So basically, taking a quality over quantity approach, that anytime you have an interaction with a person, you do it on a quality basis, not bam, 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 bam. I mean, you hear about these people who call for sale by owners and expired listings, and they have call centers and they have 3 or 4 screens up around them and headsets and phones and all of this going on. And so if someone answers, then, I mean, like telemarketers. And I mean, what if you called 1 for sale by owner a day and actually had a conversation with them? I mean, a decent, normal conversation with them, instead of all this telemarketer nonsense. So, all right. So anytime you can do a quality job instead of a quantity job, go for it. It will pay off. I mean, the whole reason for that is that, I didn't even say this. The real estate is not a volume business. It's not something that you need 100 people every day to hire you, or even 100 people every day to find out who you are. Every single client that you get as a real estate agent is worth a fair amount of money to you. So, it's not like, I sell books, right? And for every book I sell on Amazon, I get $3, $4, something like that. So I do have to market in a quantity basis. I do need a volume business to sell books. Real estate's not like that. So, you sell a house, you get $5,000. So I think it's worth treating the people that are going to bring that business to you on a, as individual people, not, 100 leads to try to touch. So, okay. Number 5, stupid thing, is to memorize scripts instead of having conversations. This is another hot button for me. I just think scripts are the stupidest things ever. I mean, stupid. And you know why else they're stupid? Besides they're stupid, is that when you script somebody, in all likelihood, they know it's a script. And so you think they're stupid because you're not seeing through their script. So I did a little video snippet on this a few weeks ago, and you may have seen it, but if you didn't, let me recreate it for you. One day when I was in real estate, I went out with a lender to have coffee with him because, he wanted to talk about how we could build our business, and I'd heard good things about him. So we were sitting there having coffee, and he starts telling me his various prospecting activities, how he builds his business. And one of them was this script that he told me, that basically what he did was he would have lunch with somebody, have coffee with somebody, and then he would call them after the lunch, and he would tell them how impressed he was with them, that they were obviously a quality person, and did they know any people like them that they could refer to him, because he would sure like to work with more people like you quality person, you. And okay, that was interesting. So we parted ways, and I thought he was all right. So my phone rings on my way home, on my drive home, and it's this guy. And you know what he said to me? Wow, Jennifer, I really enjoyed having coffee with you. You are obviously a quality real estate agent, and I bet you attract quality clients to you. I'd sure like to work with you so that it's like, and I mean, I literally thought he was joking. I mean, I literally was expecting him to start laughing, and I probably did laugh. And then I realized he was dead serious. And so it made me respect him less, but I also felt like he thinks I'm stupid, that especially since he just told me about this thing he does, and then he did it to me. So I mean, that was it. That was the end of that relationship. But anyway, my point is, there is an entire industry out there built on giving real estate agents scripts to memorize instead of having intelligent conversations. I have a big packet over here that somebody sent me from a big name real estate company, just full of scripts, and most of them are dreadful. I mean, they're insulting. One of them was when you're talking with a seller about pricing their home, and it's something about, oh, I didn't realize you had a real estate license. I didn't realize you had a real estate license as well. Well, of course, let's listen to your opinion or something. I mean, it was super insulting. And I think this is one of those, I think, do these people just sit in their boardrooms and laugh that they can actually sell this crap to real estate agents? And are real estate agents really doing it? Are they really implementing this ridiculous stuff? Professionals don't need scripts, okay? If you know what you're doing, you'll have a conversation. And that's what your clients deserve. So, one of the buts I get on this one is that, well, I say the same thing over and over again. Are you saying that I have to come up with a new rap every time I do? No, that's not a script. That's just, that's your rap. Memorizing a script to avoid a normal conversation, that's what I'm talking about here. And I will tell you guys, these scripts that are out there, they are horrible, okay? Horrible. And if you feel that, I mean, if you're going, yeah, they really are, wow, trust your gut on that. They're bad, right? You don't need a script. Number 6 stupid things real estate agents do, and that is to insist on buyer agency and loan approval prematurely. I just, guys, show some respect for these people that you're meeting. Buyer agency and loan approval are two different things, but they are kind of joined at the hip, and that they're topics that real estate agents, when they're working with their buyers, they introduce into the conversation way too early, and they do it so they don't waste their time. And remember I said earlier that, I define stupid as something that wastes your time. I'll tell you, not bringing up buyer agency, not bringing up loan approval too early, you will waste a whole lot less time if you just let it flow, if you just give it a minute, if you show your new buyers the respect they deserve, and not beat them over the head with buyer agency, loan approval prematurely. There's plenty of time to talk about it. Okay, now buyer agency, let's talk about that for a minute. I get it, there's agency laws out there. I get that, okay? And if your state is one of the ones I've heard of, that the minute somebody walks into your office, you've got to have them sign a buyer agency agreement right there. I'm just still not sure I believe that. But if that's the case, I guess that's the case. But if not, let's get to know each other. Let's build a relationship. And I'll tell you, when a buyer meets with a real estate agent for the first time, what do you think they want to talk about? What do you think they're excited to talk about? If I took a Friday afternoon off to go meet with a real estate agent and they said, hey, why don't you come into my office and we'll talk about the process? And I'm excited. Oh, here I go bouncing. Do I want to go in and talk about buyer agency? No, I want to talk about houses. I want to talk about what's out there, and what can we go look at, and I want to get excited about the process. I want to get excited about this agent. And if all they want to talk to me about is, well, we have to sign a buyer agency so I don't waste my time, and you guarantee that I get paid, and then you're committed to me for the next 3 months and blah 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 blah. I mean, that's not what I want to talk about. Yeah, let's talk about it at the right time. We don't have to talk about it this second. Let's build a relationship. There's a real estate agent on every corner. And so if you alienate this person right off the bat, there's plenty of other people for them to go talk to. I got a ton of business during my career because people told me I was the only agent they talked to who didn't badger them about buyer agency and loan approval. So loan approval. Again, let's have a conversation with the buyers. Let's talk about buying a house. The thing is, most buyers have a decent idea of what they're comfortable with, what they can afford. In fact, during my career, now granted, a lot of that was pre-recession, but during my career, the issue was more that the buyer actually qualified for more than they thought they did, or more than they were comfortable with. And that, I don't know if that's the case anymore or not. But anyway, if I went to see a real estate agent, again, all excited, let's talk about houses, I think I'm in the $300,000 range. What can I get? And then I got a lecture on, well, we're not gonna go look at houses. We're not gonna do anything until you've spoken with a lender and gotten pre-approved. That's a bummer. Okay. So if that real estate agent shoos me out the door and says, you go talk to a lender and come back and see me, guess what? I'm not coming back, probably. Because I'm not excited. And this person basically just disrespected me. So right or wrong, I tell you what, I don't think I ever had the conversation about loan approval, loan pre-qualification with a new buyer at the first meeting. I mean, yeah, we can talk about the process, but how I would put it with people when the conversation came up was, so what price range are you thinking about? Or what are you comfortable with price range? I don't have to say, so have you spoken with a lender and what are you qualified for? What price range are you comfortable with? Let them tell you, you know what, it's probably right. It's probably pretty close. And if they have no idea, oh gosh, I don't have the foggiest notion. Well then, okay, yeah, we need to talk to a lender because, we've got to have a price range to start with. But in that case, it makes perfect sense. So anyway, I tell you, you will get more loyal buyers and you'll get more referrals if you relax, enjoy your time with your buyers, and talk about this stuff later at the appropriate time. Number 7, stupid things real estate agents do to mess up their careers, or at least waste their money and their time and their energy. And that is to buy into marketing that you don't think's gonna work. Or you're not confident that it's gonna work, but you fell for the sales pitch. And typically this is expensive stuff. So, I mean, if you want to buy a lead generation program for $20 a month, I mean, that's not going to kill you. But think about it. Do you really think something that's $20 a month is going to really do anything? Anyway, but to buy into marketing, advertising, self-promotion stuff that you're like, I don't see how this can work, but I guess I can give it a shot. The 2 things that I always caution agents about when they're looking at some sort of advertising or some sort of promotions, prospecting, if the goal is one of 2 things, just say no. Okay, if the goal is to get your name out there, absolutely say no, it is not going to work. The other thing is if it's marketed as, well, just one closing will pay for it. Now that's true, probably. But I can tell you, every time I bought into something that they told me, well, just one closing will pay for it, one closing never paid for it. I never got a closing. And so I think it's almost your gut telling you, when you believe that, is like, well, I don't think this is going to work, but one closing will pay for it. So let's give it a shot. And I just can tell you, in almost all scenarios, you're never going to get that one closing. Now, I guess kind of a third thing to avoid, to just say no to, is prospecting, marketing stuff, marketing packages that you're not excited about, but they have to be done long-term. Now, I mean, an example would be, farming stuff. So, you send out one farming piece to a neighborhood and, you're pretty sure that's probably not going to do much because, you've only done one. So you do, two, and you do your postcards, and you do your this, and you do your that. And so a year later, you've spent a couple $1,000s and a lot of time and a lot of energy doing this, and you haven't seen any results, but are you going to quit? Heck no. I've got $2,000 invested in this. I've got a year of my life invested in this. I'm not going to quit. I might be right on the verge. And so you don't. So you do it again and you do it again. And then when you finally give up, you're brokenhearted. So again, that's another thing that I bought into some of this stuff, and it didn't ruin my career, but it sure took a lot of my time, money, and energy. So if you don't feel strongly that it's going to work, and it's a long-term thing and picture yourself a year from now, what if this hasn't worked? Am I going to be willing to walk away? Just get out of the purgatory of that and just say no. So back to anything that promises you to get your name out there, or if that's the goal, is how do I get my name out there? Here's the thing, you can't. There is no way a real estate agent can, especially a real estate agent who's looking for marketing to get their name out there, you can't afford it. What it would take to get your name out there and really, honest to gosh, have an effect, it's that you can't afford it. And there's far better ways to get clients, to get business, than to try to blanket an area with your name and number. So the only real organic, effective way to get your name out there into a neighborhood, into a market, is to be doing business there. And so, if you're doing a lot of business in a neighborhood and your for sale signs are up, your sale pending signs come up, your business cards are in all the houses because you're showing buyers all over the place, then a marketing strategy to get your name out there will work because your name's already out there. But, a brand new agent or a new agent that doesn't have any business, there's no way. There's no way to get your name out there in a manner that's going to be cost effective. So just don't do it. Don't even think about it. There's so many better ways to generate business for yourself than that. So, all right. Number 8. That is to choose the wrong mentor. And when I use the word mentor, that's kind of a big category. So choose the wrong real estate philosophy to follow. So if your office has a culture that a lot of real estate offices buy into the different training programs. So, and I don't do that. Actually, there's a reason I have never promoted the sell with soul method to be sold to real estate companies. But, you all know what your office culture is. Maybe it's Buffini, maybe it's Mike Ferry, maybe it's Ninja, all these programs, which, that's fine. But if they don't resonate with you, if they don't ring true to you, if you're hearing this particular program, whatever it is, even if it's mine, and you're like, don't waste your time and money on it and your energy, and you'll waste a lot of time, money, and energy on it. If it doesn't sound right to you today, if it sounds uncomfortable to you today, if it doesn't sound like it's going to work for you today, that isn't going to change tomorrow after you've written that $1,000 check. It's still not going to work for you. But then you're $1,000 poorer and feeling kind of stupid because you did something your gut was telling you not to do, and you did it anyway under pressure, either from yourself or someone else. And now you're kind of stuck in this program that you don't want to do. I get those calls a lot, and I can't help them. They say, I bought the program at such and such company and it was $800 and I hate it. What do I do? I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Actually, what I do tell people when they ask me that question is take what you can from the program, take maybe the accountability, take the structure, and tweak it if you can to be something that you are comfortable with, something that you do think will work for you. But, again, you're not going to turn into somebody different because you wrote a big check for a training program. And I'm going to guess the sales pitch for the training program is probably a lot more inspiring than the actual program. So if you're having questions after the sales pitch, is this really right for me? I don't know. Once you get it's not going to work for you. So, okay, don't do that. The next one is totally off the wall here, and that is to not use transaction checklists. I am a checklist queen. I used transaction checklists from my very first transaction, and I just can't even imagine being a real estate agent and not having transaction checklists. Now, here's the scary thing about that is I did a survey a while back asking real estate agents. I did an actual live workshop on transaction checklists. And I did a survey asking people if they use transaction checklists on a regular basis. And literally everyone who responded said no. 100% of the people who responded said they did not currently use transaction checklists. And I guess if you can run a business, but a real estate transaction, is complicated. There's a lot of moving pieces and parts. And if you're doing 2 or 3 or 4 at the same time or more, and you're not keeping track of what needs to get done and what other people need to be doing, then you're not providing an exceptional client experience. You're not. And I have a good memory. I'm a very organized person. I'm very customer service oriented. And by golly, I had a checklist up until the very last day of my career. And so, especially if you want to do more business, if you want to, do 36 transactions a year, 50 transactions a year, even 20 or 30 a year, which everybody can do 36. Anyway, you've got to have checklists and you've got to use them. And I remember during the peak of my career, it was one of my busiest years. And for some reason, I had this transaction. I had this new listing. That's what it was. It was a new listing. And for some reason, I forgot to implement my transaction checklists. I had them automated on my top producer. And I messed up on that transaction over and over again. It only took me a few days to figure out that I hadn't loaded my checklist. And so I fixed it. But just in the first 2 or 3 days of putting this listing on the market, the stuff I forgot to do was ridiculous. And I was like, oh boy, that was a close call. And actually, the funny thing was, it ended up being a very stressful transaction because it got off to such a rough start. And I just looked like an idiot from the beginning because I forgot to do so many things in those first few days of the listing. So anyway, that stupid thing number, I don't know what, number 9 maybe, is to try to practice real estate without transaction checklists. Last stupid thing, and I've alluded to this and probably half of these stupid things, and that is to not trust your gut, to be pressured by outside forces, whether that's other agents, whether that's, your broker, your trainer, your spouse, but to not trust your gut and do things that don't feel right to you. Now that can certainly affect your prospecting activities, to be pressured, like we've talked about, be pressured into doing prospecting activities that don't feel right. But also when it comes to helping your client, to serving your clients is, there will be, I remember my, one of my brokers, I would go to her and ask for help, and she would tell me every time, that's not your place to provide that advice. That's not your place to answer that question for them. They need to ask their attorney. They need to find that answer themselves. And to me, I was like, what am I getting paid for if I can't answer a reasonable question about something that I have expertise on? And, another kind of one of these things that drives me nuts is brokers who don't want their agents attending their buyers' inspections. And to me, if I ask my gut, should I attend the inspection or not? My gut's going to say, absolutely, you need to be there. But, so you're getting pressure to not. And so trust your gut, both when it comes to prospecting and when it comes to client service. And in most cases, you'll be right. Sometimes I kind of give into pressure when I'm having conversations, typically like on Facebook, and you'll get into a debate and somebody will have a dissenting opinion from mine, and I'll look at that and I'll go, And then I ask myself, okay, really, what do you believe, Jennifer? And what it is that I believe it's right for me. And so I don't acquiesce, I don't back off my opinion. And an example is, if you were following the conversation we had over in the Facebook group about to F-bomb or not to F-bomb on your Facebook posts. And my very, 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 very strong opinion is that you do not F-bomb on your Facebook posts. But there was a lot of dissenting opinions on that thread, and I was surprised. And I really started to kind of question myself when there was all this, dissension, and like, am I really just a prude? Am I really just old? I mean, what, really? And so I backed off for a minute and I asked my gut, back to, okay, Jennifer, do you really think that? No, I think it's absolutely preposterous to F-bomb on your Facebook page. And I stood my ground. And I mean, you can agree with me or not agree with me, and we can still be friends, but I just feel really good that I didn't back off, that I didn't say, well, okay, I guess it's okay, because I don't think it is. I don't think it is. That doesn't mean, anyway, I'm off topic, but just be willing to trust your gut. If you're here at Sell with Soul, to me, that means that you have integrity, you have a good work ethic, you do put your clients' needs first and even your prospects' needs first, so you can trust your gut. Now, legal issues, no, you don't want to just ask your gut what it thinks about, some legal issue. You need to get advice. But, in most cases, you can do what feels right. Do what feels right to you, and it will be the right thing to do. Number 1, beg for referrals. Number 2, prioritize prospecting over client service. Number 3, do real estate on the side. Number 4, take a quality or quantity over quantity approach to your business. 100 listing appointments versus 10. Number 5, memorize scripts instead of having conversations. Number 6, insist on buyer agency and loan approval prematurely. Number 7, commit to marketing that you don't think will work, especially if it's to get your name out there. One closing will pay for this, or if it's a long-term commitment that then you'll never get out of, like the mafia. Okay, choosing the wrong mentor or real estate philosophy to follow, not using transaction checklists, and don't trust your gut. Okay, real fast. Beg for referrals, put off clients for prospecting, do real estate on the side, quantity over quality, memorize scripts, buyer agency or loan approval prematurely, do marketing you don't think will work, choose the wrong mentor, don't use transaction checklists, and don't trust your gut.